I don't give no fuck.
Put your hands behind your back. Hold the air.
Bitch, you guys are so fucking forceful for no fucking reason.
Get on the ground now!
Bitch, you can't
Get on the ground!
Bitch, you can't me! On the team!
Pushing me! Do it now!
No! Stop!
Stop pinching me!
Push me!
That's my eye!
Take me!
Put your hands behind your back! Do it now! Get your hands behind your back! Do it now! Put your hands behind your back! Do it now! Get down. Wait, one. We have one plus.
Trigger warning.
Get off of me, bro.
Get on the ground, dude!
Yo,
Why
punching me.
are you punching him?
Stop punching me.
Why are you punching him? Oh, get the fuck off him! Yo, get off
Stop
him,
punching
pussy.
me, bro.
Oh, get the fuck
Yo.
off him!
Yo, round, bro. You round, bro. You good, bro. Stop punching me, bro. Oh, y'all niggas going crazy, bro. Yo, chop him.
Hey there, buddy. Hey. Are you the guy that shot those people?
Yeah, I'm the shooter.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Officer Woods. Do you mind telling me where you put the weapon you used?
It's over there.
Yeah, I see it. Okay. Tell me what happened, buddy. What happened?
I just had a bad day.
I have bad days too. It's human nature, you know?
Am I going to jail?
I am gonna have to arrest you because you did kill some innocent people. I tell you what, I'm not even gonna put handcuffs on you, okay? See these? You see these? Yeah, tossing them. I won't even put them on you, okay? Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet killing those minorities really worked up your appetite, huh? What do you want? You want Burger King?
Yeah.
Let's go get you a Whopper, okay? Hold my hand. Hold my hand. Let's go, buddy. All right, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, all right?
Bro, cops make me nervous, bro. They make me nervous, bro.
Literally chill. I got this. Like, don't even worry. Don't even stress.
License registration.
Why the fuck are you pulling us over?
Oh, well, you have a flat tire back here. I just thought I'd warn.
Okay, is that causing any issues? Just mind your own business.
You're right. I should mind my business. I apologize. Y'all have a nice day.
Thank you, officer.
Thank you, officer. What? I told y'all.
Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome to the Five Black Comics. How's everybody doing? What up, Tanya?
What's up? How's everybody doing?
All right. What's going on, Kev?
Hey, what's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
Desi, what's up, brother?
Howdy ho! What's up, everybody?
And today we have a very, very special guest. We are super excited to have this. Our guest today has been a long-time community activist. He has his own radio show. He's the host of his own radio show based in Westchester County, New York. He's been on the front lines of anti-racism in the workplace and also police brutality for over 40 years. In addition, our guest worked as an organizer for several organizations, several national regional figures such as Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Governors Pataki and Patterson, and Cuomo. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Daryl Davis. What's going on, Daryl? We are so excited to have you on the show. You are absolutely one of the guests that we can absolutely use. And you saw the videos we just shown, and We're going to tackle a few topics today. We're going to talk about the black people that go missing. And one particular black person, I think Kevin told me over 1.5 million black men went missing last year.
No, since 2015. Yeah, since 2015.
Since 2015, sorry. Since 2015. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But we also wanted to hear very much from Daryl and what he has been doing to help as far as police brutality. And Daryl, I'm going to start with you this way. Talking about police brutality. I'm not a police. I've never been a cop. I don't claim to know everything. But from the videos we just saw, one of those black women were 14 years old. And you're telling me that 2 police officers cannot restrain a 14-year-old without kneeing her to her chest, tasing her, all that brutality. And we saw a couple of funny videos at the end where how nice white police are. And that's not an exaggeration, because I have been in cars with white friends and the police pulled them over. And the police were absolutely cool. And I have never seen police smile and laugh and have like a personality, right? And I'm witnessing this. I'm sitting in the passenger seat until they saw me. Once they saw me, everything changed. Everybody get out the car. They want to search the car. A whole change happens. Me personally, and these guys, my personal view is just some people who do not like black people, plain and simple. So I don't know if there's anything that we can do to ever change that, other than, as Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X once suggested, give us our own land, let us do our thing. But what have you found as far as police brutality goes? Because why can't police just come up and be nice? If a cop came up to my car and say, "Hey, how you doing? I pulled you over because you were speeding," or you know what I mean? And then if I got belligerent, then the cop gets belligerent, right? But if I remain nice and calm, why can't the cops remain nice and calm? Why did it always have to escalate it right from the get-go? Go ahead, Daryl.
Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me on. Obviously, I've heard wonderful things about you guys, and it's good to be here. Jumping right into police brutality, I grew up in Westchester County, and for me, it means growing up in a laboratory of racism, because you get to see it more raw and less convoluted. In other words, in New York City and the big cities, there's a lot of complexities to it. But in Westchester, I can drive through wealthy Bronxville and see white kids with their pants hanging off their butts, loud music on their shoulders, baseball cap on backwards, and ain't no cops bothering them. I can also go to a white courtroom and sit there in Westchester County, in some of these communities, and watch how these white kids are treated for selling Ritalin at the high school, as opposed to sitting in the quote urban areas of Yonkers and Mount Vernon and Peekskill, and how we are treated. So I've had a clear view of it. When I do work for Al Sharpton, it's different. New York City police brutality, it can be harder to see, but here's what I know. There are certain police officers that are only assigned in Black communities. Only assigned in Black communities. These police officers will never be assigned to the United Nations or Wall Street, because they're just people who should not be cops. Now, add that to the fact that the FBI raised the issue of police departments nationally being infiltrated by Klan, Aryan Nation, skinheads. And so there are hate groups hiding in plain sight. And so a lot of these police killings we see, it's not training. Carl, as you pointed out, how can you not afford a girl or even a Black these issues, including letting them go and sending them an appearance ticket later, And so when I talk to young people about interacting with police and you get pulled over. We had a training recently with the ACLU to interrupt politely and said, listen, we can't talk to the cops like that. You're telling black kids and black people to tell the cops, oh, well, I don't have to answer questions. I know. No. If you're black, you get pulled over. You're in captivity. You have no rights. You are in a survival situation. Put your hands on the wheel. When they ask for the registration, can I get my registration out the glove compartment? And move very slowly. So these are the realities. There are people that are hateful, just hateful towards black people, and they're cops, and they're not assigned in white affluent communities. And so we need to make that distinction. The second thing is, and I think strategically, we need to start going after these district attorneys politically. It's interesting, and I made this point recently that anytime there's an election, here comes the mayoral candidate for black votes. Here comes the governor. Where's the district attorney that can prosecute these cops? They're in a white neighborhood telling them they're going to keep your kids safe from us. So you have these issues that we have to raise beyond brutal police, like who's controlling them, who's assigning them, and what is their real agenda. And I think it'll give us a clear idea of how we can take these issues on.
Okay. Desi, do you have any thoughts or questions for Daryl or any?
One thing you made a really good point. I agree with you wholeheartedly in that it is a system. When you say we have to go after the DA, we have to check everyone involved in the system, because we see that they appear to collude together and work together to make sure that their agenda goes through. What steps do you recommend, Daryl, that we take as individuals? Because I'm a big fan of Neely Fuller, and he has his rules for when you get pulled over. But just for my enlightenment, do you have any advice or any information about what we should be doing?
In terms of addressing police brutality?
Yeah, specifically if we're pulled over, what should our code of conduct be?
Or pulled over. Yeah, no, it absolutely understand that if you're black, you're in a survival situation. As I said, I tell you, don't talk back. Now you do have a right to not answer questions, but I pulled that years ago, and I ended up on the side of the street with all stuff in my car on the highway, and the cop pulled off. Like, they just tossed my car anyway, So I mean, it's a difficult situation. The only thing I advise people is answer them politely, professionally. Don't put no tone in your voice. There's cops out there that are young enough to be my children, and I've gotten pulled over a lot in Westchester. Anytime, as a matter of fact, I did a show with Kiss FM years ago, and the first time I did their show, afterward, the producers told me the police department, Peekskill Police, called them and asked for a copy of the show that I just did. So as activists, you're targeted. They follow you. They keep a dossier on you. This is ordered by the FBI. They don't necessarily bother you, but so you have to know that you're in a survival situation, and the goal is just to be able to drive away. To answer your earlier question, when I said about the district attorneys, these are politicians, and we demand that these politicians prosecute these police officers, and if they don't, check the list of their donors. They have a list of people who give them money. Stop spending money there, and let them know that we're going to do this. And I think you'll get a little bit better response from a lot of district attorneys. But also, former New York State Governor David Paterson years ago started pushing the idea of an independent prosecutor for police, because they're conflicted. They try to get the police union endorsements. They want those votes. And so we need an independent prosecutor to prosecute police. But also the protest work. Protest work. People say, oh, they don't work. You need new tactics. No. They do work. What swept the world the last few years, the whole Black Lives Matter movement. Mm-hmm. And I distinguish the movement from the organization, because I'm a member of Black Lives Matter the movement, but I'm not a member of the organization, because anytime we rise up as a group, they always try to give it a structure that they can scandalize or corrupt and try to hurt the whole issue. And I don't play into that, you know? So protest, it works. And especially, you know, strategically. Now, there are some organizations that they apply for a permit to march, and the city fathers say you can have your permit to march from 10 a.m. to 11 o'clock and be out of town. Now, we never took that approach. My organization, Committee for Justice, we didn't ask for a permit. We didn't tell them where we were going to march, because there was sometimes having their little march right down the middle of it. And what happened? They called us in. What do you want? I want a new community center for our kids to get them off the street. I want a fair share of jobs. As long as they can tell you when, where, and how to protest, you said nobody, and you don't get anything out of it. That was kind of a long-winded answer to your question, but these are the things that we have to start doing. And understanding that a district attorney is a politician.
Oh.
You know, and there's another issue that I speak in the context of. You know, the recent documentary on Netflix, who asking more, why did they kill Malcolm X? Because that's related to the police brutality.
We missed some.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
somebody asked me a
you're
question.
freezing. You're coming in and out there.
Yeah, every time you move, we freeze. You freeze.
Yeah, you freeze. Tanya, you had a question, or
no, I was going to let him finish, but I was trying to tell him that he was freezing. But it's okay. We have the wording thing on, so viewers can see what he's saying. It's just I'm letting him know.
Okay.
Okay, already. Yeah, so I don't know if you caught my last comment was not so much who killed, but why. Why, you know, as Black people, we're the only group in America that it is government policy to undermine. And we don't talk about that. You know, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps like everybody else. Excuse me, the Italians, immigrants were given a whole industry. The Irish were given a whole industry. Jews were given a whole industry. These organizations like Catholic Charities and the YWCA, they were created to get white people out of poverty. The YWCA, now it's our time, all they want to offer us is a cot. And we got to call them out on that stuff.
So do you see an end? I mean, we talk about this a lot on the show. Is the day going to come when we don't have to have shows like this?
Not in this country. But not this country. But it's too much of what this country is. See, they can never concede equality, freedom, any of that, because the whole system is founded on that. The wealth is founded on that. Look, people always talk about, Black people, Black Lives Matter, Black people stop killing each other. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, listen, let me say, it's not even about us all being united. First of all, I don't want to be united with every Black person, because a lot of them will stab you in the back and run and tell Charlie what's going on. I just want a small group of committed people can do a whole lot and have done it historically. So while we're waiting for everybody, we're not getting anything done. You know, but to answer your question, there's one thing that erases racism that they don't talk about. I'm going to pull a name out of my hat that people don't take seriously enough. I heard Reverend Ike say, not live, but on a video.
Hold on, let me make sure. You said Reverend Ike?
Reverend Ike.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
I heard Reverend Ike say. Reverend Ike said, I'm all for Black power, but when I found out I couldn't buy anything with Black power, I wanted some green power too. And, you know, in history, and our leaders have written and promoted marching up and down the street to get a seat at their restaurant instead of let's build our own restaurant. Because there's one thing that stamps out racial oppression is economic power. And we don't talk enough and organize enough around that.
Well, didn't we?
If I got a lot of money, I don't have to go to your neighborhood and get pulled over. I can have it delivered to me. I can have all the land I want. I can grow my own food. I can hire my own people. We don't talk about that. Dr. Clark talked about it. And one of his last interviews on my radio show, he said, if Martin Luther King would have said, I won't wear any shoes that my own people don't make, he could have created a whole economy for us. But he didn't really go that route. But we need to go that route.
Well, what about Oklahoma, Tulsa, and all the place in Florida, the place that were built up this approach, and then boom, they bombed it.
That's what I was saying.
It's like, okay, bad enough that we had KKK on us, and then they came and destroyed and killed. But then allegedly, there were some higher officials, I'll just say that, that actually, I believe, bombed the place, because the way it looked, it didn't look like that just regular people could go through there like that. If you saw the hole, it was just crazy. So what now?
Yeah. Pull yourself up, but not too high, because we're gonna level everything and you're gonna start over.
That's exactly what happened.
I think Carl put it best when he said that we need to really understand how much they hate. Say exactly. We don't want to admit or acknowledge.
He always says that.
Yeah, we just
can't
can't believe
that we're facing.
No matter what they do to us, we just can't believe they don't like us. We just can't. We just keep coming back. You know what I mean? We just keep coming back, and they keep treating us like shit. And we keep coming back, hoping that they'll change.
Yeah.
Hoping that one day, we're gonna get up in the morning, and America's gonna have this big epiphany. Oh, we've been so wrong. No.
Yeah, right. And not in this life. I'm with Tanisha on that one. It's never gonna happen. But but here's my thing. It's not even so much. You said earlier. I don't think it's not that it's not the ones who don't like blacks. It's okay to not like someone. It's the ones that want to harm, stop, or kill black. That's the ones I'm scared of, and that's what makes all this stuff so crazy. It's like, okay, it's one thing to tell me you don't like me just because the way I look, or even you can even say my beautiful brown. That's fine. I don't care. I could care less. But now when you tell me I can't eat, or that you're going to stop me from breathing, that's a problem. And that's where we're finding all those, I call them crooked police. The ones that are doing those things are probably, in my eyes, they're like Proud Boy-ish, KKK-ish, grandkids-ish. That's just me. And that's a problem. That has to be stopped somehow.
So is this at the top? Like, for example, you were saying, Daryl, about the like some of these police officers could be your kids, because of their age. I feel the same way. Like, I don't believe you can take a 21-year-old who grew up in West Virginia, give him a gun and a badge, and I'm saying West Virginia, in a rural area. He grew up there, and he has all his biases about African Americans. Then you give him a gun and a badge, and you drop him in an urban city to control. To patrol, not control. Those two words are kind of similar, aren't they? So, so is it the hiring practices? Like, just got out the army, left for the army when he's 18. Now he's 22 years old, and now he's a police officer, because that's the best job you can get when you come out the military as a police officer. You're almost hired immediately, right? With the military training. And so you're 22 years old. Now you take this kid that grew up in Kentucky or West Virginia, anywhere, Tennessee, in the woods somewhere, and then now he got a job, and you drop him off in Brooklyn or Washington D.C. in Southeast, or some area where it's mostly 99% African Americans. Now this kid got to deal with African Americans. He has no training to deal with African Americans. And then you talk about people like the Proud Boys who are now getting jobs as police officers when they have no intention other than to hurt black people. So is this coming from the top? You know what I'm saying? Like these hiring practices. So the people that hire these people,
keep it in the family.
It is, because I think. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, are the people that are doing
I
all
mean,
the hiring,
again, the police
are they
officers that you
racist?
just
He's breaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
breaking up. Yeah.
Go ahead, Daryl.
I think
You
Go
break.
ahead, Daryl.
I mean,
Yeah,
you know, it's yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're going in and out though.
It's a system. Yeah, well, my internet looks good. Let me just double check.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
I hear you, man. You didn't pay that prepaid bill. That's what it was.
Okay.
We can hear you, just don't move.
You said you weren't gonna go after me.
You gotta get off that Boost Mobile, bro. You gotta upgrade. We probably.
Now you showing me who you really are.
Black cop.
Yeah. The struggle's real. What can I tell you?
I ain't mad at you, man. I ain't mad at you.
You know.
But Daryl,
Yeah,
in
no, it's all good. No,
2021,
Go ahead.
in 2021,
So funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carl.
can you hear me, Daryl? I think he's. I think we're on some kind of delay. It seems.
Yeah.
Hey,
So
hey, Carl, can I just say something real quick? Since
Yeah,
George Floyd was murdered, if Daryl can hear me, since George Floyd was murdered, you know how many black people we have been killed by cops since George Floyd's trial? Like all of that protest worldwide and all the attention that the George Floyd trial got worldwide, people were still getting killed by cops. Like there was a shooting in Minneapolis down the street from where the trial was happening. Like these people don't give a rat's ass, man, about black people. I'm just saying. What I'm saying is the police officer or the head of the police station didn't even tell the other police officers, look, the George Floyd trial is happening right now. Do whatever you can to refrain from shooting anybody. You know, make that the last option. Your life must be really in danger before you shoot somebody because the George Floyd trial is happening right now. Don't kill anybody if you don't have to. And they still shot the boy in Minneapolis when he was just speeding away with no gun, by the way, just speeding away. And he was shot and killed. Like, it's that bad that the people at the top don't even tell the other cops, chill, just chill. Unless somebody got a gun pointing at you, don't shoot, like that's where we are, man.
But isn't it? It's to me, it's because America seems to cater to the racist people. Right?
Well, also you got to remember, and no one's talking about this. Why isn't anybody addressing all the shootings, including the ones in Chicago? And I'm still trying to figure that out. But there's more to it than just the shootings. I want to know where the organs are going. I want to know all that. And I'm not sure what's going on, but something's weird with that you have that many shootings and you can't do anything.
I'm glad you brought up Chicago because I was just reading some stats here. Might be interesting to everybody on the panel and everybody listening. Chicago's not even in the top 10. And anybody can Google this for themselves that's listening. Not even in the top 10 most dangerous cities in America.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Because you guys aren't doing your research.
We get an F.
Now you get a chance to Google it and find out that Kevin Lee is telling you the truth.
Wow.
It's not in the top 10 most dangerous cities in America to live in. I've Googled it. I've double checked my facts. And you guys get your chance to do your homework right now just to show you that I'm telling you the truth. So, it's the news that makes Chicago. I'm not saying Chicago's not bad. Yeah, there's a lot of shootings there.
Oh, wow.
But it's not the most dangerous place in America to live.
You're right. I see. Whoa.
So Daryl, what do you suggest? What solutions do you have as a community organizer? What do you think? What's the best thing Black people can do in 2021? Why are we still? It seems like we're still floundering. It's like we still can't find our way. And we have all these black millionaires and billionaires. We have all these rappers and entertainers and football players. We got thousands of black people with all this money, you know. And I always say, and maybe it's because I don't have this kind of money, but you would think we all know no matter where I go in America, no matter where I go and I see a black person, I know they're going through some shit. I know it. I don't care if they're a CEO of a company. I don't care if they're a janitor. I know they're going through some shit. I know it, you know? So why don't we all just, you know what I mean? Like, I always say, like, get in the huddle, you know, and friggin' help each other. Everybody else does it. Every other group does it. White people do it. The Indians do it from India. You know, Jews do it, and there's nothing wrong with it. They do it and they help themselves. That's why they're doing so much better than we are. You know what I mean? Of course, there are lots of things in our way, a lot of obstacles in our way that make it difficult for us to just live or in a 9-to-5 job. You know what I mean? I've done 9-to-5 jobs. I've done stand-up comedy, and no matter where I go, there's always a white person doing something underhanded to keep me from making it. Just you know what I mean, the simplest things, to do something to sabotage something I'm working on, or they call an agent and say this guy said this or did this even though I didn't, just something. But I'm saying that as, why don't we all as black people just say, hey, look, everybody's against us, let's get in the huddle and, you know what I mean, and fuck everybody else. Because
Jim Crow made sure that we didn't.
Yeah.
Slave masters made sure that we wouldn't for at least 4,000 years. And because we're mentally screwed. Unlike other cultures, we are mentally tormented.
But my question for that is, if we know, which you just said it, so we know it.
Yes.
We know what the trick is. So
yes,
why are we?
Hey, Carl,
Carl,
we also know that if we keep eating McDonald's burgers, it's not going to be good for our health, but we still do it, right?
Right.
So we know these things. We know the effects of bad foods may cause certain types of cancer. A smoker knows that his odds of getting cancer from smoking that cigarette, but he still gonna keep smoking it, right? Yeah. And it's the same with what we know, what Jim Crow or slavery has done to us over the last 40 years, and those effects still affect us in certain ways, you know, because we don't have that unity sort of thing like you may see a group of amigos or something, and you go, how come they're so tight and black people aren't? And a lot of it has to do with, first of all, you see them talking to each other. You ever be around a group? I used to go to a car wash. I used to go to a car wash down the street from my house. Now, every Spanish guy that worked at that car wash spoke fluent English. But guess what? They always talk to each other in Spanish, right? In their language. But then when they talk to me, yo, bro, it's $20 for that wash.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you just talking to him.
Yeah.
Why you him? You know. So it's that unity that we don't have, man.
Yeah.
That they have, you know. You understand what I'm saying, guys? Tanya, that unity.
What I think, though, is that we are, and Daryl has said this, and it's a main thing that's going on among us, is that basically we keep hoping for a big percentage of participation in order for us to make a movement. And I think that's an unrealistic expectation. Like the movie 300, we need a concentrated few that are on code and willing to work with each other, and then the masses will follow because we have had a victory. So what we have to do as individuals, I know when I see another black man on the street, how you doing? How's your family? I don't know that person from anything. I got black people I don't even like, but if we can work together to be successful, I will do that. And I think that we're kind of in the stumbling blocks. We're slipping our feet trying to run fast because we're like, come on, everybody, come with us. This isn't an everybody thing. This is the people who are on code, that are willing to work together and make a movement. And it's going to be a tight circle. It's going to be a small group, grassroots thing, because the celebrities and the football players, they get a lot of money to toe the line of white supremacy. And that's why Colin Kaepernick was so offensive, because no matter how much money he made, he still was black first or whatever. And I think that we have to take that on. We can't look for everybody. This is just my opinion. Not every, and I think Daryl kind of echoed it, but not everybody is going to go in. We're not going to get a big tent. We need to work with the people that want to get things done. And then those who stand on the sidelines and watch, they'll eventually want to join in when they see we're successful. But we have to get the grassroots going, because if we're waiting for everybody, even in those groups that we see, the specialty groups or the ethnic groups that work together, there's still dissension. They just don't let us know it. We put all our business out there and let people know that we're not united. We have to work with the people that are dedicated to be with us and want to move with us. And we kind of, not that we hate on the people that are not with us, but we have to ignore them, because we got a goal and we got to do things, and they'll never join in until they see we're successful. Then they'll say, "Oh, I was with you the whole time."
Right. Like sort of like same thing as well, Dr. King's civil rights movement. Same thing. Nobody was on it at first, and then it got done, and now we're like, look at that, we can actually sit on a bus. So it's the same to me. It's the same tactics and principles.
Right. Exactly, because even white people I know that are have said many racist statements, they'll always say, but Dr. King would say this or that. So that tells you that he was effective, he was doing things, but they will never acknowledge it until after he's dead and doesn't have any power to keep going forward. So what we got to do is realize you're going to be hated. You might be even hated from within, but as long as you have the right goal in mind and you work together with the people that want to work together, and it's not a like thing. I could hate your guts, but if you have the same goal as me, we're going to work together. And then once it's done, we'll worry about who likes who. But for right now, it's all hands on deck. It's everyone who can and wants to work. They got to work with us.
I say that all the time, that everybody who hates a Kaepernick or Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson or any civil rights person fighting for equal rights, if Dr. King was alive today, they would hate him too. You know.
Oh yeah.
They would be
absolutely.
People on social media would tear Dr. King a new one. You know.
Absolutely.
But they give him a pass now because he's no longer here, like you said, Des.
Yeah, they while he was alive too.
Can I read this real quickly? This is the top 10 cities. St. Louis is number 1. Violence. Memphis, Tennessee. Baltimore, Maryland. Monroe, Louisiana. Danville, Illinois. Wilmington, Delaware. Wow. Alexandria, Louisiana. South Carolina. Those are the city in South Carolina. Those are the top 10 most dangerous places in America to live. Chicago's not in the top 10 list. See what happens when the news has a way of giving people, basically the news just gives people this illusion that, I'm not saying Chicago's not a dangerous place, but that's the first thing white people will go to is Chicago. Look at killings in Chicago. They don't even bring up all the killings in Kentucky that are mostly white people. You know.
So Daryl,
not on the news. That's why.
So what did you do with what was your capacity with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson?
Good question.
Well, in '84, when Jesse ran for president, I was a area coordinator for Jesse in Westchester County and Putnam, which neighbors wealthy Westchester. We won Peekskill, my hometown. Jesse beat Walter Mondale there. And then when he ran in '88, I was a coordinator for him again. For Al Sharpton, I organized for Al Sharpton a 2-week march, which, by the way, which is significant to what we're talking about, because we marched from Harlem to Albany over a 2-week period, marched from one city to the next city, ate at a church, had a rally, slept, and did it all over again. We by Klan along the way. I'm talking about northern New York, not the South. But there were a lot of people on that march, like Jesse came, Eric Adams was the head of Blacks in Law Enforcement at the time. He was there. He's now going to be here in New York City, it looks like, you know. So I work for Al Sharpton as an organizer. I brought him into Westchester a couple of times on some police killings. Yeah, whatever he asked me to do as an organizer. We did march against Giuliani's budget on Wall Street. I organized that for him.
So if it was up to you, what would you do to help Black? What would you do? How would you, do to help the Black community if it was up to you? If you were king for a day, I guess.
Yeah, well, Well, if it's up to me, I would make sure people like Kaepernick and Paul Robeson and Muhammad Ali, who are famous, but there are people who are not famous that have lost their jobs, their lives, their freedom for trying to get us on the correct road. And we as a community, when they did what they did to Kaepernick, I set up a GoFundMe because even though he's rich, I still feel that he knew once he took that knee, his career was over. And as Black people, we should have passed the hat. I don't care if he's a millionaire. Muhammad Ali had to borrow money from Joe Frazier, somebody he's going to be fighting. And Malcolm had nothing, or his family. And so we, the same way we pay pastors' bill, there are graduates active there, like myself, that they come after our income. I did a 10-month suspension on my job for not going along with a gentrification. I mean, they literally framed me, took documents out of my office. 10 months later, the county police came to my office and escorted me off the property because I wouldn't go along with a plan to tear down public housing, which I blocked for 30 years. And so, so we have to have a economy for the people out front. Now, when you look at Dr. King, Dr. King was hated when he was alive. There were some Black churches that would not even let him preach. And so, as Des said, we don't need everybody. The Black Panthers were a minute amount of the population, but the government felt the need to just annihilate, because the message is what's important. And corporate media and the political establishment destroy a message and a messenger that can put us on the road to freedom. And they promote vote Democrat, join the NAACP. Now, those are not the tool. They are a tool, but they're not the tool. Because if we come out in 4 years, how many people have gotten evicted or fired or lost their jobs, or the kids are out in the street because cuts to their social programs? Politicians are moved by the movements. They respond to the movements. When mostly Black women were facing mass evictions nationally because of the eviction moratoriums were ending because of COVID and what have you, Congress went on vacation. It was the movement, the grassroots, that raised hell, and Biden took action after saying there's nothing he can do. So the movement is everything, especially with us. This country, looking at the genocide of red people, the enslavement of African people, and what have you. But George Washington, he wasn't supposed to win. There was a very minute population that supported him. Most people in America hated him. He was a traitor. Castro was him and 13 other people in the mountains. It's not about masses of people. This is the myth they give the Black people right now. It's the message and the messenger that can spread, and they do everything they can to stamp that out. And Kaepernick is a perfect example of that. But it's not just the famous; it's the soldiers. There's a movie called 10,000 Men Named George, I think, and it was a movie about the Porter movement, where every Black porter on the train, white folks said his name was George, and they got organized into a union. But that was the only movie I saw where they told the story of the people who supported that movement lost their jobs, lost their housing. We got to protect people, that when we step out for the community, they're coming for us, unless we say vote Democrat. unless we say join the, you know, the things that they feel are non-threatening, they'll support. I love Jesse, love Al, I work for them, but they're millionaire Democrats. They're millionaire, their money comes from saying vote Democrat. And I have no beef with the Democratic Party, except we ain't getting a fair return for our vote.
Absolutely.
Where's our job opportunities? Where's our business opportunities?
Agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like we got to stand up and be real about all this.
Can you really be 100% for Black people when you're raking in millions?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Can you really be 100% for Black people when you're raking in millions?
No, you can't. That's why they're paying you.
That's right.
They're
That's
paying you
exactly.
not to be 100% for Black people.
That's right. There you go. I'm glad you get it. Thank you. Glad.
All right. So we had, can you tell us a story of your success in anti-community organizing? We heard you've accomplished a lot. This is coming from Robin. She wants but there's a success story in anti-racist community organizing. Mm-hmm. You live in a racist community, and and then we're gonna go into. I want to talk about.
I grew up in Peekskill, New York.
Is that a racist community? Can we say that on live?
Well, put it this way: it's segregated.
I'm sorry. Which community?
Peekskill.
Segregated like Yonkers.
Segregated?
Is Peekskill racist? It's all of that. It's all of that. Peekskill was this. Peekskill, all of that in a bag of chips, as we used to say. Peekskill was this when Paul Robeson came in 1949. These white folks here went crazy, tried to kill him. He was given a free concert against the war. They tried, he got turned around at the train station and sent back. And then they had the concert later. But Pete Seeger, folk legend, he was there. Pete was a friend of mine. He came to Peekskill a couple of times. Matter of fact, for speaking about these issues at a council meeting, I was arrested twice and put on trial for talking in Peekskill, not 1950s Georgia.
And you're still in
Peekskill? Peekskill's racist. It's segregated. I'm banned from almost every place.
I've been banned from all school. I thank Daryl for putting out showing the FBI's most wanted.
Daryl, you did have your first Black mayor. Oh, you're laughing.
He's laughing at what
well, there's Black and then there's Black. So
I'm taking my name down off this shelf.
Yeah, well,
Hi, FBI. I love you.
So you started an organization.
Doing something right.
Did you start your organization in Peekskill? Is that where you started to organize against the racism in Peekskill? You took them on. You took on Peekskill. I formed Committee for Justice when some merchants in Peekskill hired a law firm that used German Shepherd attack dogs to chase little Black kids from hanging in front of their store. And I told them how racist this was and dangerous. And they laughed at us, so we boycotted them. 3 days later, they got rid of the dogs, and I forced the city fathers to build a community center for our kids. So that was a tremendous victory because, again, they laughed in our faces because they weren't used to Black people standing up to them, being organized and being successful. And so we did that. But here's an interesting thing that happened. This made national news because one of the merchants was McDonald's, and USA Today's headline said McDog in Peekskill. And so we showed the community that by organizing, we could win. And we never stopped showing them that. But interestingly, when we got rid of the attack dogs, here was the headline in the local newspaper: attack dogs gone, city to meet with NAACP. Now, wait a minute. NAACP was not a part of this protest. You want to meet with your hand-picked leaders. Because when they come out of the meeting, they might have a job for themselves.
Yep.
But when we come out of that meeting, we got a community center for the kids. And that's the difference. And it's an important dynamic.
Right.
We built a community center, you know? We saved public housing from getting torn down several times. As a matter of fact, the reason they came after my job was because I successfully organized fight backs over a 30-year period. 1982, New York Peekskill Mayor George Pataki appointed me to the Housing Authority Board. I became chairman. He wanted me to co-op Bowman Towers, public housing, get rid of it. I said no. They went after me. We fought back. We saved public housing. 15 years later, Democrats came after us. Public housing. We fought them, toppled them. You know, they passed the notorious no clapping law against us at council meetings. We would get up and speak. The crowd would clap against the law.
Wow.
No clapping. It made world news.
I thought
no clapping. Yeah.
Sorry.
So
go ahead.
He's frozen. I think he's frozen.
I'll wait for my question.
Daryl? Hello.
This FBI froze his ass.
Yeah, I can hear you.
FBI.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Daryl?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Kevin.
Delayed response.
Yeah.
I thought public housing had something like a 50-year contract or something like that. Something to that effect. No. So is that Section 8 housing? What is that? I don't know. I thought there was like a 50-year contract. I don't know. I think they could just close it and be like, bye. Any public housing. I thought, but maybe I'm thinking of Section 8 HUD. I don't know. Yeah, just curious.
I want to talk a little bit, and I want to hear your thoughts, Daryl, on the Biden administration giving $1 million to the immigrants that were separated, but not immigrants because they're not legally.
The Latinos that were separated from their family.
Yeah, because of the trauma that they dealt with.
Right.
That's why they get the money, because of the trauma.
Yeah.
Now, isn't that ironic? I mean, I wasn't born in this country, but I think Black people suffered more trauma. And what have we got? What have Black people gotten for all the trauma? But why is that? Why is that they gave the Japanese $20,000 after the Japanese dropped bombs on Pearl Harbor? They turned around and gave them $20,000 in reparations. Now they're giving $1 million, or for trauma that they suffered because of the child separation. What are your thoughts on that? 'Cause I just think that to me tells you right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, everything all my strategies, all my analysis are in the context that they don't want us 40 million, probably more, to be stable as a community and as a political and economic power. To me, it all goes back to that. So Asians can get an anti-Asian bill without even putting up a fight. Yeah. We've been swinging from trees for how long?
Yeah.
Great.
You know what I'm saying? So
this should
again.
Go ahead, Des.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean what I was thinking, just to take it a little further. This should strengthen our resolve as a community to make sure that we put reparations for us at the top of our agenda and don't waver, because even when we're talking reparations, I've heard every logical reason. I heard about how we have the money, and then I just say, well, they just won't do it. They don't like us enough. But the fact that this is even proposed has really put strength back in me to push for this, because the Democrats are at a real risk of swinging everybody, probably not to Republican, but to independent, and forming our own party and having our own agenda, because this is just absurd. I can't even think of a word that I would say in front of a public. How obnoxious, what an insult this is. and it's made me.
The word is trauma. They said these people suffered so much. How much trauma did they suffer?
Well, they did, and that we don't want to take away from that. But the problem we have is that I'm still suffering from my trauma.
That's what I'm saying.
We're not together,
right? That's what I'm saying.
So
the trauma they suffer pales in comparison to, you know what I mean?
Not even if you wanted to throw out Black people per se as our main focus point. We're Americans. We pay taxes here, and we have been traumatized. We have had legislation. We've had government. We have police. We have every team that can. We have redlining that can work against us has done it. We are entitled. We have to demand this, and I'm sick and tired. And I kind of let it slide. I was caught up in the euphoria of getting rid of the last administration, but now we can't rest 1 second. We got to keep the pedal to the metal, and we got to be together. This is one thing we got to be together. The people that want this, we can't let them waver. We can't let them waver, because I remember when the candidates were coming out. Every time a candidate would speak, Democrat or Republican, someone in the audience would stand up and say, "What's your opinion on reparations for Black people?" Because we have a real famous quote of Kamala Harris saying, "You think I'm gonna do something just for Black people? Oh no!" And we saw something specifically done for a lot of other groups. And I, for one, am ready to make this my only issue, and I'm going to stand on it until
I'm with you. Let's start our own party. We're down for the 5BT party.
Yeah, there you go.
There's a Gloria Miller that commented, she said, "You people are shameful." I'm not even sure what she's and she says, Gloria also says, "You're not protesting Black genocide." I mean, what? Did I miss something?
I missed something. Gloria, explain that to us, please. I don't know. I'm trying to look for the comment.
Tyrone Jackson says Maya Angelou supported Black genocide in 2010 with one speech. Maya Angelou praised Margaret Sanger's Planned Parenthood and raised $300,000 for their chapter in San Antonio. I have no idea what they're talking about, because we weren't even on the topic of Black genocide. I'm
trying to find her comment.
Pamela Jones, what's up, Pam? Pam said, "I think the elimination of public housing is contributing to homelessness in our cities." Absolutely. When they come in and they say, "You got to go, we're going to rip down your building, we're going to put up luxury apartments," where do those people go?
Right. Well, I know where they go. They go down south. That's where they send them, or they send them to Albany. That's the big thing now.
They go to the worst neighborhood than the one they were living in.
Oh, yeah. And then that used to be an okay neighborhood, and that becomes a nightmare. Because the police police with the same iron fist that you're an animal, you're not a human being.
Yeah. I mean, for the immigrants that are trying to get into, why not just give them citizenship? You know what I mean? Just give them citizenship. That's what they wanted. What's with the $1 million, or what's with the 400 or 500,000, whatever it is? You know what I mean? I don't get the
that's the trickery, honey.
Financial part. Why is that necessary?
I'm about to become a legal immigrant.
Listen, I know that's right. I'm about to go get on a boat and jump in the water.
About to leave and walk back in.
I know.
No, but Carl, that's the trickery. If I give you $450,000, you'll shut up, right?
I'd like to ask Daryl, because he's frontline. What does he think our number one issue should be?
Daryl, we got 2 minutes left.
The number one issue for us in America, I mean, I would say reparations, but that ain't gonna happen no time soon. But I think that economics, number one is economics, because everybody else got trillions of dollars to raise their economies. Everybody except us. I think that's number one. Money trumps. If I own my own company, I can hire who I want, and they won't be discriminated against.
Why aren't we protesting that stuff, though? I hope there's some kind of protest against this plan to give those immigrants all this money. I mean, that is just, I can't even imagine the reasoning behind that.
I don't want to protest. Yeah. What I want is for us to get together and say, okay, we're all putting our vote together. We're going to get this.
Well, I don't mean like, give me give me give me some reasons as to why, you know, why their trauma is worse than
maybe we should withhold our taxes. We're not going to pay taxes if it's going to go. If this thing goes through, we're not paying taxes. Because our money is going directly to them.
I think that's what got Wesley Snipes in trouble.
Yeah. Look at that. Hey, Daryl, we're the comedians.
I know how to get us reparations, but nobody won't listen to me. So
you know how to get us.
Oh yeah, by banding together. If whoever has, he's right. Whoever has the most economical power has the power. So how do you think other groups get people in office and all the lobbyists and all that stuff? That's because they say, well, we're only going to do this if you do that. And if you don't do it, guess what? You ain't got my money. And if you don't have my money, you can't do what you want to do. That's everything. And we don't get that. We just don't get it.
Robin Alpern said something very interesting. He said the U.S. has enough money to pay immigrants and also pay reparations.
True.
They have enough money.
Oh, yeah, because we see they know how to make it.
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, I want to throw something out there. I haven't done a complete analysis of it yet, but again, Westchester, I see things. There's a lot of Asians owning Carvels. There's a reason for it. There's a reason you don't see I Google how to start a Chinese restaurant, can't find that nowhere. So there's a whole lot of economic stuff going on with these groups that we don't know nothing about and can't get access to. But we need to start asking.
Yes, and who owns the dollar store?
Economics.
It's funny you say that, Daryl. I was in a Chinese
restaurant. Right, all of it.
Today,
all of it,
man.
You know?
I was in a Chinese restaurant. I was in a Chinese restaurant yesterday, and they had so many workers back there preparing food and giving out the food. I mean, this is one of the busiest Chinese restaurants in the area of New York I live in.
Yeah.
I'm not going to air right now because the FBI is watching this. But anyway, but I just couldn't believe.
Well, it was nice doing your show. I know I'm never coming back.
No, man. We
Yes, you are.
definitely have you back, man.
That's right.
No, I'm just serious. I was just looking at all the workers back there, and I'm going, wow. What if I put an application in? Would it be thrown out? Because like, is it against the law not to hire me?
Yeah.
Because I'm black, right? It's
Nah,
a Chinese restaurant.
not likely, but
because the reason I said that because they had a young kid.
You know what else?
Probably
All of the
14 years old.
Dunkin' Donuts. Who's working in Dunkin' Donuts?
Yep, exactly. Well, I will give you two credits. Wait a minute. My daughter was hired to work in a Dunkin' Donuts, but she only lasted one day because the lady wanted to treat her like she just got here off the boat yesterday. So that wasn't happening. Then I will say one thing about H Mart. They hired my nephew, and he's the only black person I've ever seen it work at an Asian food establishment ever. So that was a miracle. But
I can I say something real quick about Jesse Jackson and these guys, man, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharptons of the world. They catch a lot of heat because they made money, you know, and a lot of their money came from speaking engagements probably or books or whatever they've written and so forth. And I'm sure they're millionaires. But Jesse Jackson, I think, just turned 81 or something like that last month, and he was just arrested. Yeah. He just got arrested last week.
For what?
Protesting in Washington D.C. He was at a protest.
Was that after or before he went to ICU?
It was after. Here's a guy who just got out of the hospital.
Surprise.
Fighting COVID. And he is a millionaire, probably. And he's out here in the streets again at his age in the 80s, still being handcuffed and taken away, protesting for voting rights.
Haven't you heard of
he got arrested 4 or 5 days ago, if I'm correct, in D.C. in a march for voting rights. He's still out there at his age. And Jesse Jackson doesn't have to be out there. He could be in Chicago, in his mansion. He could be in his mansion in front of his big flat screen watching the game.
No, I don't think
let me lean back on that a little. I'm not gonna
keep that money going.
I'm just going to lean back on that a little.
Okay.
That could just be, because he's taking more money from corporations. So he can get out there, pretend he's protesting, and he knows he can go to jail. He's got the money to bail himself out.
Yep.
He's going to be out front acting like he gives a shit.
Right.
He's gotta.
No.
That's part of why they give him money. We're gonna give you some millions. You get out there
Yes, make them think this, and then
But does Jesse Jackson at his age need money? I mean,
yes,
the guy's in his
you
80s.
can always if you
He
got
doesn't
money,
need any
you
money.
don't
He's in his
need the money.
80s.
Yeah,
He just got out of hospital fighting COVID. Does he need to
that's
be?
what they say.
It's a young man's game, is what I'm saying.
Keep
Does
in
he have
mind,
to be
Jesse
out
got
there
some.
being handcuffed? There's no fun being handcuffed and taken into
But he
custody.
what?
Go ahead, Daryl.
I've been
What you
there.
say, Daryl?
What you say, Daryl?
Keep in mind, Jesse got some child support to pay out there too. But
That is
listen, I organized some protests.
You should be a comedian.
I know.
I organized
Daryl's
some protests. I organized some protests for Al and Jesse, and before they get arrested, I call a deputy chief, and I tell them they're going to get arrested, and they walk past the camera and out the back door.
Wow.
But Jesse still deserves credit.
Yeah.
He still does. He still deserves credit, and Al Sharpton also. Now I don't really deal with them anymore because they've taken a different road than me. They're millionaire Democrats. They're not out there. They should have been out there raising all kinds of sand with the police killings, and they were silent.
Yes.
They got nice TV shows. They got nice salaries. Yes. They get big grants from all the corporations. You know, they're cozy. But they started off very sincere and committed.
Yes.
You know, they start off very sincere and committed, and they do care, and they risked a lot over the years. And I can tell you, as a lifetime activist, there's no pension waiting for me at the end of the rainbow. There's no pension for what I do. And I've been jailed. You know, with Jesse and Al, the chief they're gonna get right out. Up here in the woods of Westchester, I'm always the last one to get out. They literally have chained me to a log in the back of the police station more than once. Wow. You know, wow. Dragged by handcuffs. You know, it's different. You know, none of that is staged. You definitely don't want to go. They'll treat the mass murderer, the white mass murderer, better than the black activists. Jesse and Al. You know, we should tip our house to both of them because they have contributed. But but they will only go so far to keep their money. And we have to understand that money and that status. That for the money to keep coming in, you got to be on TV. Period.
Right.
For Jesse and Al, for the money to keep coming, the donations. I used to count Al's money. You have to say what will get you on TV. It's part of the game.
Now,
don't mean they don't contribute, but they're not going to win the game for us.
Right. Exactly. There's a difference.
Yeah. All right. You don't have to admit to this, Daryl, but what I heard as far as Mr. Sharpton is concerned, I heard the reason he got that deal on MSNBC that was part of to keep your mouth shut. We're going to pay you. I think they're paying him $750,000 a year or something like that. That's what I read, and I've seen it many.
R.I.P. Gerald.
To ask Mr. Sharpton, you know, part of a payment to, you know what I mean? To, you know, just not say too much, not to be too hard on the
how much Al's getting paid?
No, that's what I read an article that said he gets $150,000.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
Let's be honest. His persona on MSNBC, you know, is not that great. He doesn't have a great presence to be a host of a show. I mean, they could have picked anybody. I could have hosted a show. Kevin, Desi.
I definitely hope.
You know?
You already know.
But they picked Al Sharpton. I know he's an actor, but he's not a great person to host a show. He doesn't speak that well, you know, and he's just not.
Do you remember the teleprompter? Yeah. Well, again, that's part of the payoff. The book deals, they're always a payoff. Andrew Cuomo, his book deal, Governor Pataki. I mean, these things go right to the freaking clearance rack. But they get millions of dollars out of it. It's all part of the payoff.
Yeah. Ann Holly said, "Hey, what's up, Ann?" And I think most people start
talking about what will get us freedom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and he said, I'm reading a comment from one of our viewers. She said, Ann Holly, what up, Ann? She said, I think most people start out that way. I mean, they start out with good intentions,
right,
sincere, then reality hits, frustration and takes over, and
keep up that $4 million house.
Yeah, if you dangle, I mean that
baby daddy.
Barrett, I think
but guys, to be fair, and I'm not here to my point is, we just said in the beginning of the show, or somewhere in the middle of the show, that Malcolm X, the great man that he was, and Dr. King, the great man that he was, died with nothing.
Right.
They didn't own their homes. They didn't have nice cars. They had nothing, and they both took bullets for the greater. So now we're criticizing guys who put in the work, and because they got mansions and BMWs.
We're not criticizing them.
I don't know. I don't know what you. So would we be happy?
I don't think
happy
they'll help us get to the promised land.
Jackson were living in the hood?
No, I'm saying, but it's the way to get the money.
Yeah, and I'm saying this, Kevin, they can take all they want. Anybody can take all they want. I'm saying, for me personally, I personally don't trust any politician. That's just my personal thing.
They're taking money from the
end. There's always a deal that has to be made with what I call the devil. And so it's okay to make it. It's not a judgment. It's just that I'm not able to see you helping me or my people get to the freedom plan, or whatever you want to call the promised land, with a takeoff payment. That's just me. So I respect and I love what they've both done. Beautiful men.
John Lewis comes from that.
Beautiful. But they're not going to help you get where anything.
He didn't die a broke man. I mean, he didn't die. He's filthy rich. But John Lewis, who came up in King's Camp, I believe, probably when he passed away a few years ago, probably had a cool couple of million hanging around. So these guys. Dr. King lived in this day and age. He would probably be a rich man.
Yes.
If Muhammad Ali lived in this day and age, I mean, he would be as. If Muhammad Ali lived in this day and age and was, some sort of young, he would be a super rich man too.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
All I'm saying is that
Ali didn't make the money Jordan made.
Yeah, I'm not mad at those guys for making money, but
no, I'm not mad at that.
You can't be protesting Kellogg's and be hanging out with Tony the Tiger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not mad at anybody making money.
Good luck.
I want you on my team. That's how I am.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. You can do whatever you want. I salute you.
As Chris Rock said, in a clip I heard, actually, and the clip is played on Al Sharpton's radio show. Chris Rock said, whenever you're in trouble, you're going to call Al Sharpton, so it's true. I mean,
He didn't help me when the police put their foot on my neck before George Floyd. I almost died, literally. Nobody helped me. But I will say the Action Network was good about something else. They did help me with something else. So I got to give them credit for that. And they didn't even ask me no questions. So I got to say, they're awesome on that. It's at least the last I checked 12 years ago.
All right,
I'm going to end on this. This is my last statement, but I agree full circle. We do have to reward anyone who steps out to fight white supremacy. It's important that we do that, but we don't have a hero. No one is going to save us. We have a person, whether it's Jesse Jackson or Colin Kaepernick. They are starting the conversation, but it's up to us, the people in our everyday lives. We're the ones who have to carry it out. And so, let's reward those people. But we can't, once we get someone who seems to be a workhorse for Black empowerment, we can't just say, okay, our job is done, and let's let that person lead, because we've seen that they either get distracted by the television or women that come after them or anything else that can corrupt them, or even if they're not corrupt, they only have so much energy. It's up to us to keep the push going.
You're right, Des, because you know what? If you put too much power behind one person, then they're gonna get assassinated anyway, right?
Right.
I mean, we can't never have another Dr. King. He's just gonna be killed. Right. Another Malcolm is just gonna be killed. So I think, the new leaders, or if you want to call them that, they know that, So there's only so much power you can have or you want to display, because, I mean, and like Louis Farrakhan, for example, he's a very powerful man, but he's not a threat because he's only really powerful to the Nation of Islam, that group of people.
Right.
Now, if it wasn't for him being the Nation of Islam leader, and he was just a black leader for all black people in a way that wasn't part of the nation, they probably would have been took him out, right? Because he has a lot of power, but he only has a lot of power to the nation that he resides over. But if he was a regular old, I'm for all black people, you know, even the guys who aren't part of some Nation of Islam sort of thing, they probably would have found a way to take him out by now.
Yeah.
He has no power.
Sorry.
I'm just saying.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, as long as you don't have no power, you will live. Dick Gregory used to always say, I listen to Dick Gregory a lot. He says the reason I'm still living because everybody thinks everything I say is I'm crazy.
Yep.
He said if people start really believing what I was saying, they would kill me.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
You know, because the stuff he said was so far out there.
Yep.
That nobody on this conspiracy crap. And he said, he says, man, people really believe what I said, because what I'm saying is true, but people really believe it, they will kill me. As long as nobody believes it, I'll remain alive.
He's right.
It's about power, man. So Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson are only alive because they don't have the power that Dr. King had, you know? Or remember the scene in the movie Spike Lee with Malcolm X when the white guy said, that guy has a lot of power. That's too much power for one man to have. Yeah.
Yeah, when Malcolm X waved his hand and everybody.
He knew he had to die.
Yeah.
With that line right there means he has to go.
Yeah.
He has to go. He has too much power. He has to go.
So, well, this has been going on with our lovely FBI and everybody else for, I don't know, since the day slavery stopped, because organizing has always been a thing. And that's why they didn't want us to be able to do certain things, because they didn't want us organizing. My foster mother was a civil rights leader, been there, done that. I still say, put our money together, shut our mouths, know our plan, and boom, we might actually get somewhere.
All right. Desi, you have something? Or are we going to go to Daryl, let him have the last word since he's our guest, and then we can. You're all set, Des?
Yes, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Let me say this before I go to Daryl. All the shows we do, every single show we do, we never talk about overthrowing the government. We never talk about taking power from anyone or taking anything from anyone. All we want is level the playing field. That's all we're saying, and that's all black people are saying. Make it fair.
Yeah,
that's all we're saying. And
we don't want yours. We just want you not to stop us getting ours.
And they want to kill us for that, for saying make it fair, not give me what you got, or give me all of it. Because basically that's what white people did when they came to Americas or they came to the Caribbean. There were already people there, and instead of saying, "Hey, let's share this land," they said, "No, we want to kill you and take it all."
They stole it first.
The American Indians were willing to share America, but the white men said, "No, we're going to kill you and take it all." So all we're saying is just make it fair, and we getting pushback on that. But Daryl, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Daryl.
And we stand with Daryl. If the FBI comes for Daryl, they come for all of us.
Yes.
Got your back, Daryl.
You got you that. Any last
That's all I needed to hear.
Hey, we're glad to have you, brother. All the jokes.
We got some.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much. I froze.
All right, everybody. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Norma Staley, thank you so much.
Hey, Grandma.
Russell.
We'll love to have you back, Daryl.
Pamela Jones, Ann Holly, Donna Haygood, Gloria Miller. I'm not sure. I hope they're probably a newbie. She said we are shameful. I don't know what's shameful about what we're doing. Robin Alpern, thank you so much. Thank you for bringing us Daryl.
Yes, Robin. Hi, Robin.
Really, thank you for bringing us Daryl.
Daryl, you just got to get off that service you got, that phone service.
That phone service.
Yeah, you got to feed that hamster.
Westchester is the woods.
No, that's right. You're back up on the woods. That's right.
Yeah, I hope you got a gun
in
permit.
the woods.
You up there pissing off them white people. I hope you got a gun permit.
Right. You're certified.
I know. Yeah. You
Pit
don't
bull or
want
something. Yeah.
you don't hear
You know,
Daryl
that's-
accidentally drown in 2 inches of water. Or
You
something.
guys are too much. Thanks so much.
2 inches of water.
Yeah.
Peekskill.
Water.
Yeah.
My neighbor's a Peekskill police officer, man. And I think he lived, and I'm not even near Peekskill, but he's a Peekskill.
Yeah.
No, seriously, he's a Peekskill police officer.
Yeah.
He travels there. He travels there to work a few times a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
thanks
fellas.
for hi. Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Alrighty.
All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
Thanks for joining the show.